Hi girls, and welcome to your official first week of your Mastermind Pacesetters class. Now remember, the entire point of this Pacesetters class is to learn how to shift your mindset so that you can create the results that you want in your business. Because so much of this business goes on in your thoughts. So much of the difference between where you are and where you want to be has to do with your mindset. So that's what we want to focus on this week. Quick reminder is your points are due tonight by midnight at the latest, no exceptions. Make sure you turn in your points early so if you have any technical difficulties, you can get it fixed before it's time to have them officially submitted. Now, the intention of your points is to help you build a business. It's not just to get a whole bunch of points and win a prize. So if you're looking at it, you're like, well, I don't know if I need the prize. Some of us are very prize motivated. Some of us are not. Either way, it doesn't matter because the points are designed to create income in your business. By doing those things, you will be moving to the next level in your business. So make sure you've decided how many points are you going to get each week, as opposed to just leaving it to chance, kind of like I talked about last week with your IPAs, creating an intention for your week. How many points do you want to have? How many points is your goal because of the income and the results that that's going to get? And if you need help with any of those numbers, talk to your director. She can help you work through those. So today we are going to talk about the mindset, a couple of things in our mindsets. Number one is the concept of be, do, have. So this is a concept that a lot of us wrestle with because we assume that if we have something, right? If we have money, if we have a new car, if we have a new place to live, if we have something, then we'll be able to do this. If I had more money, I could buy that house and then I would be happy, right? If I had more money, I wouldn't be stressed about my bills and then I would be happy. If I had a different relationship, I would be able to do this and then I would be happy, or I would be peaceful, or I would be satisfied. And so we look at life that way. If I could just have that, then I could be, do, or, any of these other things. And so we get it really twisted around because when you flip this concept, and it's when I be this, then I will do this, and then I will have this. It's a completely different shift because the other one is out of your control, right? The other one is if I could just have, if I could win the lottery, if I could just finally have this or finally have that, and we find ourselves in this place where we don't have what we want. That's out of your control. You can't change it. Whereas suppose if you switched it and you focus on who you be, you have control over that, right? So if I am happy, if I be happy, then I will do what? I will act in this specific way, which will create, I will have this. So if I'm confident, I'll make my booking calls and I'll get bookings. And then I'll have sales and I'll move up and all of those types of things. If I was happy, I would act this way in my relationships. And then I would have the kind of relationships that I want to have. If I was a powerful thinker and a big thinker, then what would I do? I would act big. And then I would have big. And so this shift in your mindset of taking responsibility, that who you decide to be completely controls and impacts your life. Now, I'm not completely naive to not say that there are things that can happen in our lives that have nothing to do with how we be. Some of you guys know some of the health challenges that I deal with. And this weekend has been a doozy. It's been a good one. But how I be determines how I interact with that challenge. Does it override me? Does it drive me into the ground? Does it become an excuse for me? Or is who I be someone that's an overcomer? Someone who thinks big, acts big, talks big. That's one of my affirmations. I talk big, I think big, and I act big. Because anything less would be a disservice to me, my family, my people, and my God. And I refuse to live that way. So I choose how I be, and that changes the way that I interact with the challenges that come into life. So I'm not saying you have complete control over everything. That's just life. But you do have a lot of control over the results that you get. The energy that you put out into the world is the energy you get back. So who you be is confident and powerful and somebody who's about loving and giving to other people and somebody who's about thinking big and acting big. That's who you're going to attract to you. You know the saying, misery loves company? It's true, right? Miserable people are like magnets to each other, and then they're miserable together. Positive people are the same thing. If I get around a negative person, I'm like, I need to find someplace else to be really fast because I don't want this all over me. But a positive person, I'm just drawn to that person. I'm like, oh, I want to be in her space. I want to be around this person because this just energizes me. So that's who you're looking for. Now, there's a lot to this. When I started Mary Kay, I was not this person. I was a very negative thinker, and honestly still can go that way. I can still struggle with that sometimes. But I was a very negative thinker, very probably small-minded, a little dramatic and petty about things, and might, get caught up in a little gossip and things like that. But I had to choose who I wanted to be. Who I was still kind of a child, to be really honest. And I kind of grew up in Mary Kay and learned what it was like to be an adult and to take ownership for my own responsibilities, my own attitude, my own behaviors. I get to choose how I interact with the world, my challenges, with my family. I get to choose that. Do I constantly look at how it's not enough and it's what I don't have? Or am I constantly looking at how can I be the person that attracts what I want? So that's number one. Number one is switching your concept from have, do, be to be, do, have. Start with the have. Like, what are the things that you want, right? And then you'd be able to do what? And then you'd be able to be what? Because those are the things you really want, whether it's happy or peaceful or confident or positive or whatever those things are, that's who you want to be. So then you flip it around and you take that concept back to you and you say, okay, if I was positive, what would I do? What would that look like if I was positive? If I was happy, what would that look like? If my marriage was happy, what would that look like? If my relationships were fulfilling, what would that look like? And so then you focus on being that thing so that you can do those things so that you can have them. So that's our first shift. Second shift is your vision. Your vision is incredibly important. Life without vision, the Bible says this, without vision, the people perish. Without vision, the people perish. You yourself cannot thrive and move forward without a vision. And a vision for your life, it's okay to dream big. It's okay to put big things down. Now, I create a vision board. I've always done this. And a vision board for me is not necessarily a goal poster. It's kind of the life we want to have. And so the vision board may represent some personal growth things that I want. Some, if I'm growing to this place, then I'm going to reach, I would be this person. So some of the growth things that I want to have happen. They may be some material things like buying a house or taking a trip somewhere or us traveling or us having a nanny or a housekeeper or things like that were part of my vision for what my life looked like, part of where my impact went. How many women was I impacting? Did I have a leadership position? So when I first made this vision board, I made it like crazy. And I was like, okay, maybe if like all the stars aligned and like magic happened, this is what it would be. And I put down, I wanted to earn a car. I wanted to become a sales director. I wanted to quit all the other jobs we hated. And I had a whole bunch of things on there. And at the end of 2 years, everything on that vision board was true. And I was thinking if this like 20 years down the road could be the case, I'd be like super excited. So I was like, okay, well, 2 years, so where do I want to be in 2 more years? So I remember my husband and I sat down to make this second vision board. We were out in front of our condo. We sat down in the grass. It was a real warm, sunny day, and we just started talking about what we wanted, where we wanted to go, and what we wanted to do. And so we created a new vision board, which included a trip that we were going to take that we really wanted to, a house. We wanted to buy our own house. I wanted to earn a bigger car. I wanted to move up in my position in Mary Kay. And so all these things on there were part of our vision. 2 years later, everything on that board was true. Because where you focus, you go. Where your focus is where your attention is drawn to and where you spend more time. And so I challenge you to create a vision board with big vision. Of course, break down the work. What does it take to get there? You can't just put a wishful thinking up on the board and then never call anybody. If your Mary Kay business is what's going to pay for that brand new house, you got to go to work too. Right? You got to actually get the job done to create the income to buy the house. So don't get me wrong. I didn't just put a vision board up on my wall and I was like, it's going to happen. I'm going to stare at my vision board. It's going to be so great. No, I went to work. I called people and I booked parties and I held parties and I constantly worked in my personal business as I was growing my unit, and I was working in all these places to create the vision that I had for my life. But that was motivating for me to see where my big picture was. So I would challenge you to create a vision board, something big. Take what you would like in Mary Kay and then like double it or triple it or 10 times it. Like if you're thinking I'd love to be a red jacket, but deep in your heart, you really want to be a sales director needs to be what goes on that board. If you're like, okay, maybe I could be a star this quarter, but really what's in your heart is you want to earn a free car. That's what needs to go on the board. Those deep down visions that you're kind of afraid to tell anybody, that's what you put on this board, because God has put inside of you dreams. Because your dreams are very often attached to other people. Sometimes we think they're selfish if we do this big vision board, right? So if I want to have a big house, that's all about me. And why would God give that to us? Because he knows we have a heart of service. Because we want to open up our house so that other women can build their businesses from it, so people can stay here, so we can support musicians who are trying to build their careers, so that we can open it to host community events and to draw people together. He knew that's what we would do with our big house. With becoming a sales director and a free car, he knew that vision would allow me to impact the lives of other women. To become a sales director, there's at least 24 women in your unit that you're helping to impact and change their lives. And maybe you stepping out towards your dream gives her the faith and her the belief to try to do it on her own. And so all those people's dreams are attached to yours. And when you go out and pursue your vision, you unlock things for the people around you, for your children, for your spouse, for your friends, for your family, for the women that surround you in your team and in your Mary Kay unit, whether it's yours or your directors. Those people are attached to yours. And so when you live out of a big vision, you draw other people to you. God never envisioned these tiny little things. Any little vision that you could finish all on your own leaves God out. And that's not what he intended. He intended us to go on this journey together with him in something terrifying so that we would have to rely on him. If the goal doesn't make you freaked out and you're like, I have no idea how we do this, like absolutely no idea, like this is gonna take a miracle. Unless you say that, the vision is not big enough because you've left out God. And he wants to be a part of it. He wants to use these dreams that he's put in your heart. They're there for a reason. He put them there. Honor them. Go after them, because he will make you the leader you need to be in the process. And he will bless your efforts along the way, because he has a bigger purpose in that vision that you may not even be aware of, that you may not even know the lives that it's going to touch. But it takes you actually naming that vision, the big one, the scary one, and going after it, where he can come in and bless that kind of work. So a vision board, create one that is bigger than you can imagine. Like maybe in 20 years, this would be a possibility type of vision board. Okay, that's the second thing. Third thing is a concept called limiting beliefs. Limiting beliefs are the biggest thing between where you are and where you want to be. Our business is very simple. My daughter is 9. She can read the script to make booking calls. She could teach a party. She could do all of the office stuff. She could share at a team building appointment. She could do the entire business, and she's 9. There is nothing you don't have to get where you want to go. It's not hard. It's picking up the phone. There's skills you can learn. If you can read, you can learn these skills. It just takes practice. That's different than like, I want to be an NBA All-Star. Those of you who don't know me, because I'm sitting down, I'm close to 5'1", probably rounding up at that point. Like, I'm not going into the NBA. I'm not gonna be a football player. I'm not built like that. Those are not my gifts. That's not what we're talking about here. We're talking about a simple script. Booking, coaching, selling, recruiting, all of this is simple. It's duplicatable. You can practice it until it's memorized, and then you're good. There's nothing hard about this business. So why do we get stuck? Why do we be here when we really want to be over there? It's your limiting beliefs. It's that somewhere in your brain, that big vision that we just talked about that terrifies you. You have this second voice that immediately chimes in and says, yeah, I can't because. Yeah, but. That's never going to happen because. And that because is your limiting belief. Now, this may be your body size. This may be something about your image that holds you back. You're too tall, you're too short, you're too overweight, you're too skinny, you're too curvy, you're too straight, you're too whatever. you're too blonde, you're too brunette, it doesn't matter. Anything in that, in your physical features, it could be that. It could be you don't have the skills. It could be you're not worth it. You could never do that. It could be, it's all kinds of things. It's going to be the thing that for you just immediately jumps out. When I say, do you want to be a director? And you're like, yeah, I want to be a sales director. But in you saying that, your brain already goes to, but I can't because. This is why I'm not good enough. This is why that's too far from me. And these are different for everybody. But these limiting beliefs are what are holding you back. And what's absolutely insane about this, and I'm not calling you insane because I have the same limiting beliefs. I have the same things. Like legit at some point was like, I'm too short to be a national. I can't be a national because I'm short. That's insane. That's absolutely insane. But it was in there so far deep in kind of my subconscious that I really believed it. And it was something I couldn't change. So I can't get any taller. So I just guess I can't do that. I mean, it's crazy stuff like that. So when I say it's insane, I'm again not calling you insane. I'm, kindred spirit here. I get what you're going through. So when it's insane though, because it's a story you made up in your head. Now, there may be some truth to the overcoming of it. I mean, when Moses says he can't speak, he's got a stutter, however you want to interpret that. But God was going to work through that. God didn't need him to be a perfect speaker to be the leader of the nation. God picked him because of what he already had. He didn't have to be that person. You don't have to be your sales director. You don't have to be your national. You don't have to be that other superstar in your unit right now to move up. You need to be you. He chose you because of who you already are. Not because of who he hopes you're someday maybe going to turn out to be. It's who you already are. So these limiting beliefs are absolutely insane because you have created this story. It's holding you back, and you are continuing to rehearse it and believe it, even though it holds you back from where you want to go. That's crazy, right? Like the first time this hit me, I was sitting with one of my friends, she's top director. We were talking about this and I was talking about where I get stuck and she was like, for real? Like that's actually how you see yourself? And I was like, well, yeah. And she's like, are you crazy? This is who you are. She starts naming all these things. She says, you're powerful and you're passionate. These are part of my affirmations now too. You're powerful and you're passionate and you're a great teacher and you're an awesome director and you're a great leader and she starts going over all this stuff and I'm like, seriously? I am? And she's like, yeah, you are. I'm like, oh, well, that's a different story than I was telling myself. You can't become the person in your be, do, have unless you believe that you can become that person. Now, I know a lot of this sounds a little new agey and a little like, I don't know, up in your headish, but that's the whole point. That's the whole point. And it's not new agey. I mean, it's very biblical that God uses. I mean, there's that cliche. He doesn't call the equipped, he equips the called, right? So he's going to help you grow where you need to grow. We all have places we need to get better. But that limiting belief or multiple limiting beliefs, as most of us have, we could all probably write down about 10 right now. Those limiting beliefs are what are keeping you from behaving in the way that is true to who you actually are so that you will do the things so that you will have the things. That's what's in the way between you and your vision. And I've got a quote up in my studio. It's also on my website. Girls in my studio, you guys have seen this a million times, but it says that there's nothing great about shrinking so that other people can feel more secure. I'm totally, what's the word? Summarizing that. It's essentially that. But there's nothing enlightened, that's the word. There's nothing enlightened about shrinking back so that other people feel better about themselves. You are a child of God. You were called. And for you to say anything other than that is calling God a liar. Just to be clear. It really is. He has called you these things. And we walk around going, oh, no. I'm actually this. I'm actually very self-conscious. I'm actually not good enough. I'm actually not a great teacher. I could never be in leadership. I'm actually just, I'm not outgoing enough, or I'm not as smart as she is, or I'm not as funny as she is, or I'm not as fun as she is. Whatever it is, we go around saying, no, I'm right. I'm only this. And God says, no, you're all of this. And then when I work through you, you're all of this. And this is what I've created for you to do. I just want you to get into action. So your limiting beliefs are in your brain and being rehearsed constantly. So much so that your children are picking up on them. Your children can see where your self-conscious stuckness is. Growing up, I remember anytime we went to go buy clothes with my mom, anytime, she wasn't happy with her body. It's very clear. She would never say it out loud, but just I hate trying on jeans, and this doesn't fit, and everything's here and everything. And so as a child, I grew up watching that. I grew up seeing that. And frankly, I'm not in love with the strength or the shape of things right now, but I own it. It's still great. My husband said that the other day. He was like, babe, you can't get in a stronger place if you're hating where your body is. Now, I very rarely let myself get in that place because it doesn't serve you. It doesn't serve you to hate anything about your body. It doesn't. Either change it if you can, or find a way to think differently about it, because it's something that's holding you back, and it's probably something that nobody else even notices, to be really honest. So, but he said you gotta love where you are to grow to something else. And so when I'm around my kids, I don't say anything. My clothes fit great. I look great. I'm working out to get stronger. That's what we talk about. I'm going to get stronger. Mommy wants to be a little bit stronger, so we're going to do some workout today. Right? I don't say those things in front of my kid. I don't say belittling things. I don't talk about those things in front of my children. I don't make those little comments, because that's not how I want them raised. I want them to know they are confident people who can do anything. And that rubs off on the people around you. So now what you do with these limiting beliefs is you write them down. It's not a lot of fun. To be really honest with you, it's not my favorite part of this exercise, but it's so necessary. It is so necessary. So you write them all down, all of them. The first ones are going to be a little superficial. And then as you keep going, you're going to get down some of the deeper ones. It's going to be a little bit tougher when you get all the way to the bottom. But I want you to keep going all the way to the bottom, because the ones that you list last are some of the deepest ones that may be chains that need to be broken for you, to allow you to step into the woman that you were called to be. You were called to stand out in your uniqueness and your brightness and shine as the incredible woman that you are. And when you hold back, you rob the world of your gifts. You rob the world of a person that somebody out there is waiting for and praying for. But because you were afraid, she stays stuck. That's the other lives that are depending on you. So I want you to take these limiting beliefs. You're going to write them all down. All of them. Even all the way down to those dark ones. All the way at the bottom. I've done this. I know what the dark ones are. All the way down there. And then you're going to write the inverse. And you're going to write a power statement. So for instance, one of my power statements is, I am powerful, I am passionate, and I am determined. It's one of my power statements. I think big, I talk big, I act big. Anything less is a disservice to me, my people, my family, and my God. So I've created these power statements about who I am. I'm a top director. It is 20 to 30,000 wholesale per month and adds 20 to 30 new unit members per month. Did we do that last month? No. Are we going to grow to that place? Absolutely. But I create the vision for further down the road so that everything follows that vision and goes after it. And how do I create that? And how do I build that? And already we are double last month from this month already. But these affirmations about where you are and about who you are determine where you're capable of going. You put the lid on you. Mary Kay gave you a business that literally has no lid. There is no cap. There is no limit to what they will allow you to achieve or earn or give or have. There is no limit. They will never cap you and stop you. Never. The only one who can do that is you. And it's in these limiting beliefs. So this is your homework for this week. This is what you're going to turn into your sales director, okay? You don't have to post it to the group, but I do want you to just send it to her so that she can see where these things are. You're going to write down your limiting beliefs, and I would challenge you to get to 10. If you can't get there, that's fine, but I would challenge you to try to get to 10, because that's where you're going to get to some of the deeper ones. And then you're going to write an inverse power statement to go along with it so that she can see both, okay? Your limiting belief and your power statement, okay? Then you're also going to identify the B's, right? When we go back to the if I have, because you have all these things. If I had this, I would be able to do this, and I would be happy. So for instance, in my body is not always my friend, not always. So if I had a healthy body that allowed me to do all these things, I could do this, 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 and this, and then I would be happy. So why don't I just be happy in where I am? And I bet that would give me some strength to do some more of the things that I wanted to do, because some of the things we just can't change. So I can either misery in it, I can either wallow in it, or I can choose to be happy, the thing that I really want on the other side. So I want you to write down your B's. What are the B's you really want to get to? And those are some of the things you're going to concentrate on becoming, on acting like that person. You are happy. You are satisfied. You are in love. You are fulfilled. You are passionate. You are whatever those things are that you want to be. You are those, and start acting like you are, so that you can do the things that get the things that you want to have. So it's the second thing, or what are your B's? Your third one is your vision board. Creating a big, scary, terrifying one. Because you are in one of the most secure places to go after your dreams, to fall on your face a million times in the process, to get back up, to try again, to go after it again. You are in one of the safest places to do that, because we have all done it. This is a sisterhood who's going to cheer you on, who's going to pick you up, who's going to remind you of your dreams when you forget them. This is the place to practice that. This is the place to achieve out of anywhere else, is in this family, because you're safe here. And we're going to help you get to that place. So that's your third homework assignment. So I want you to turn these things into your director this week. Now, side challenge is I'd like you to tell her what your points goal is for this week. Because when we don't set a goal, we just kind of let whatever happens. And then very rarely do we get what we actually wanted. We usually have a goal kind of deep down in there. We just don't say it. And then we get at the end of the week and we're frustrated we didn't get to the unspoken goal. So you want to actually say the goal. What is it? Where would be ideal? I mean, looking at this. And it may be points you have no idea, but then you could look at the point sheet and say, I would love to have 3 parties, and then 3 sharing appointments, and then a new team member, or 3 guests to the meeting. So go pick how many and then add up the points. And that's how many points you'd like to have. So that's what I'd love for you to submit to her too. Okay? Thank you for joining us here tonight. I pray that this blessed you tonight and challenged you in a way that helps you shift your thinking. Your mindset will control where you go in this business. So why not take this time, do the work with inside yourself to grow so that you can get to where you want to go a lot faster. So we love you. We are here for you. We're supporting you along this journey. Make sure that as you are working on your head stuff, you are also working on your business. We don't stop to work on the head stuff. We work on the head stuff in process of doing the work. They work best together. Anytime I sit and I think and I try to figure out, nothing works. When I'm out in the field and I'm working and I'm reading over here and I'm growing and then I'm holding parties and I'm doing this, I end up growing so much faster because there's something in this business that acts as a catalyst to shift you to the next space. So be in action. Imperfect action is way better than perfect procrastination. So do not get stuck there. Take action this week as you grow. It's okay if it's messy. It's okay if it's imperfect. It's okay because you're growing in the process and you're exactly where you need to be, in front of the people you need to be, and surrounded by the people you need to be. You're in the exact right place at the right time. So turn in your homework to us this week. Don't forget points due by tonight at midnight, and make this week amazing.